So I was trying to play something a little out of my price range, which was, yeah. So it's just kind of like an idea that I've been kind of working on is taking the intervallic structure that I know and finding a grip that third, right? And now I'm in major, but I'm gonna play a flat 6, flat 7. So when you start stacking that, even though I'm playing a dominant 7 sound, it doesn't sound all dominant 7-y. It sounds more whole tone. It sounds more like that, even though I'm only altering one freaking thing. Right? Yeah.
So one question is, like, when you're adding in notes that aren't in the pentatonic, do you switch into thinking like, oh, I'm going to go into Dorian mode, or are you actually just thinking pentatonic and I'm going to add in?
I don't really even think pentatonic, truthfully. Like I know that's the aim of the course, and I'm trying to tie the way that I think to pentatonic. I'm actually thinking about root and third and its relationship. And if anything sounds altered to me, I'm usually listening for the 6th. The 6 is a telltale interval for me. Like if it's like this kind of thing. That sounds super altered. You know, you start getting, you get that thing. That kind of thing. So that's all built around the 6. Now, what if we don't have that and it's more inside? You know, you get. Right? You just see that I'm thinking 1, 3, 5, 6, 1. And that's a very chicken pickety kind of thing. And even in that kind of instance, when I'm seeing the pentatonic, it's almost like it's like kind of graphed out, but I'm really, really thinking about the interval structure that I'm aiming at. So like, we could take this basic formula, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, in that arpeggiated kind of format where it's 2, 1, 2. And now we can apply that to some changes. Let's just take a blues, right? You see what I did? Played the same exact thing on that 4 chord, but I played one flat out of the 4 chord. I played the 7, root 3, 5, root. So I kind of played like that, and it lets you know immediately where I was at in the chord progression. So if I were to continue through that blues, all right, sorry. Now let's go. So all of that framed 3, 6, 2, 5, right? So it's like all of these things that I keep twisting and turning. Half the time I don't know what I'm really aiming at. I just know what the anchor interval is, and if I move that and I alter that up or down, that's where I start getting a lot of character. And I'm not really thinking about a boatload of modes. Right? Like my brain isn't ever going, well, better whip out that, Lydian dominant sound that I've been working on. It's like I don't think like that. You know what I mean? It's like if I hear that, if I hear a chord that's got this, it's like, ooh, now we got to raise 4th. My brain doesn't go, Lydian, better play, whatever over whatever to get there. Like I said, when I was at school, I learned just enough of that to get myself in trouble, and I ended up making all these shortcuts for the fretboard and in my mind. Because Lydian, even though it's the F scale from C to C, right? It's like that's a lot of equation. Now you start getting to a Lydian dominant. That's a lot of stuff to think on the fly. By the time you actually process all that stuff, the chord change is gone. Because usually when you have that sound, it's over something that's like a lot of bebop-y kind of altered harmony type of stuff. And those songs like to change chords a lot, right? So for me, I like to just look at the whole fretboard and just go, hey man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now what am I changing? Like who's getting moved? 4? All right, you're going up a fret. Okay, good. 7, you're going down a fret. Done. Now I can solo freely, like over that. Like now this becomes readily available without a lot of like algebra in my head. You know what I mean? So like that modal way of thinking is really good for describing or building or composing, but I found it really counterintuitive for soloing, especially when you're trying to alter on the fly.